Well, good day to everyone joining us, and welcome to today's webinar. Today's talk is entitled Maximizing the Total Guest Revenue Potential with Mobile Technology. My name is Ryan Muse, and I'll be your webinar hub host for today. Today's webinar will run for approximately 60 minutes, and this presentation includes a Q&A session with our speakers. Now, webinars are designed to be interactive and work best when you're involved, so please feel free to submit your questions and comments for our speakers throughout the presentation using the questions chat box, and we'll try to attend to your questions during the Q&A session. This chat box is located in the control panel, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you require any assistance along the way, you can contact me at any time by sending a message using this same chat panel. At this time, know that all participants are in listen-only mode, and please note that the event will be recorded and made available to everyone after the webinar. At this point, I'd like to thank Stay in Touch, who developed the content for this presentation. Stay in Touch provides a cloud-native, guest-centric, and fully mobile hotel property management system, PMS, and over 1,100 integrations enabling hotels to raise service levels, drive revenues, reduce costs, and ultimately captivate their guests. Backed by a team of professionals with deep roots in the hospitality industry, Stay in Touch is a trusted partner to many forward-thinking hotels and resorts, including the TWA Hotel, First Hotels, Conscious Hotels, Margaritaville, Valencia Hotel Group, and Modus Hotels. Now I'd like to introduce our speakers for today's event. Brandon is the Corporate Director of Revenue Strategy for Pacifica Hotels, overseeing a portfolio of over 35 hotels generating over $200 million in annual revenue. A 15-plus year industry leader, Brandon has gained experience through leadership roles with companies including MTM Luxury Lodging, Coast Hotels USA, and Viceroy Hotel Group, providing a breadth and depth of knowledge and experience with various markets, service classes, and product types. Heidi graduated from Northern Arizona University, NAU, with a bachelor's degree in international hospitality management. She worked in the housekeeping and breakfast department at the Inn at NAU. She then worked at the Sea Venture part-time, working her way up to front office manager. After 8 years, she was ready for a new challenge and found a new home at the Seacrest Oceanfront Hotel as the assistant general manager. And Rose is an innovative and entrepreneurial executive with over 30 years of sales and marketing leadership experience in the travel and hotel industry. She has a leadership position at SkyTouch Technology, a division of Choice Hotels, where she won numerous awards for consistently increasing the company's hotel client base. Currently, though, she works at Stay in Touch, where she leads the company's sales expansion into the Western United States. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and hand the mic over to our very first speaker. Rose Serrato, you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Ryan, and welcome everybody to our webinar. We're excited to have you here. It's maximizing the total guest revenue potential with mobile technology. Next slide. Our webinar agenda today is we're going to talk about leveraging the natural strengths of a mobile property management system, including mobile accessibility and streamlining integrations, increasing ancillary guest revenue by sending automated upgrade offers directly to guest smartphones, and then we're going to have a Q&A. And I want you to know that Brandon, as well as Heidi, are clients of Stay in Touch, and they are members of the California Hotel Association as well. So we're very excited to be here. So let's get started. Next slide. So we're going to talk a little bit about leveraging a mobile PMS. There are differences in property management systems, and Stay in Touch does have a mobile PMS. Next slide. So one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today is boosting revenue. It's all about using the right data in your property management system at the right moment to make a difference, not only for you, but for those guests that you want to return time after time. Next slide. So let's talk just a tiny bit about the property management system. that is the heart of your hotel, and that's the central hub for all of your data. Housed in the property management system, you should have guest profiles that contain a lot of information. So the guest profile should contain state, rate history, special requests, preferred amenities. You can even include anniversaries, birthdays, special occasions, and likes and dislikes. I think that that is going to be very important in marketing, especially for offers that you send your guests so they return time and time again. And also this data, it's the foundational data that informs every other platform in your hotel's ecosystem. Next slide. We're going to start talking about how to increase ancillary guest revenue. And if you don't have upsells that you can add on, we're going to talk about those opportunities as well. And we're going to hear from our panel members. Next slide. You're going to be able to drive RevPAR by creating those opportunities for personalization at every stage at the guest journey. It's not going to be just when they walk through the door. This communication should be instant messaging, SMS messaging throughout that guest journey, and checking in with them. Hey, how's everything going? Do you need any recommendations for tours or dining or that type of thing? Next slide. So we're going to hear from our panel members, and we're going to talk about mobile check-in, how that drives convenience and revenue. Is we have to start with the property management system that has contactless check-in and out, upgrade options, don't forget the digital payments, upsell optimization opportunities, keyless entry, very important, mobile dining, and again, we're going to have that guest messaging. So our first question, I'm going to direct that to Brandon, followed by Heidi. And give me some examples of products and services that you and all of your hotels that you use for mobile check-in in upselling your hotels. It could be parking, it could be in-room extras. I know you've got a lot of hotels, Brandon, so I'm not sure if this is a standard process throughout all of them, or do they each have individual upsells?
Yeah, so quite honestly, that's one of the perks of kind of having a portfolio of hotels is we kind of use different properties to test different vendors out and different systems out and kind of establish kind of what we decide is our own kind of best practices and which ones are the best fit for us and our hotels, and then kind of deploy from there. That quite honestly, that's how we wound up with the Stay in Touch PMS. It was one thing that we were trying out, and we liked it so much there that we actually rolled it out to the rest of our portfolio. But to that end, Stay in Touch, we do certainly use the mobile check-in and upsell features that are provided through Stay in Touch. And additionally, we've partnered with some recent other vendors, to offer upsells and early check-in opportunities that integrate directly with Stay in Touch, as well as integrated guest messaging that we have consistently across all of our properties as well. So those are kind of two of the other ones. We are also exploring other options as it relates to payments and increasing food and beverage revenue through mobile ordering as well, whether that's in-room or from maybe a poolside chair or cabana.
Can you give me some examples of the products that you use for upselling? Is it parking, dining, in-room amenities?
Yeah, we've found kind of our most successes with, kind of the standard upgrades and early check-ins and late departures, but we've also kind of started to dabble into other areas such as, in-room amenities, such as bottles of wine upon arrival or chocolate-covered strawberries, things like that, that are relatively easy to deliver on. And then, of course, looking to just continue to evolve it from there. But certainly have found good success with what we've started to deploy as it relates to kind of the non-traditional items of upgrades and early check-ins. And we've had good success with bottles of wine and things like that that are easy and really can see us taking it to lots of different places. Could be attractions or things to do, parking, local activities, things like that. The possibilities are certainly endless there.
Okay, Heidi, what about you? What products and services do you have at your hotel and maybe the other ones?
Yeah, we have 3 hotels in our portfolio, and we all use the mobile check-in feature to offer room upgrades, not only for just upgrading to a better view, but you can upgrade from different bed situations. So if you booked a king, we'll still offer you that upgrade opportunity for a deluxe oceanfront 2 queens. So I think that's one of our biggest ones, is upgrading from a non-view to a view, or a partial view to a full view. We also do offer the early check-in, late checkout, and then like Brandon, we have small enhancements that they can add on, like the romance enhancements. We've got a few local vendors that we partner with, Hamley Farms. We do like a lavender gift set that you could add on, or we have other gift boxes, a romance enhancement box with champagne glasses, flowers, chocolates. And then we've also got our local vendor that does chips, salsa. So kind of bringing part of the Central Coast into our upgrade features as well.
Oh, that's great that you partner with local vendors. How many do you partner with?
Probably, what is it? Talkworks, Hamley Farms. Yeah, and then all of our wines too. So probably like 5 or 6.
Oh, that's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you. Next slide. So you can earn up to 240% ROI per quarter. How do you do that? Is, first of all, you can send targeted offers for early check-in, late checkout, as Brandon and Heidi mentioned. We've got amenities, we've got loyalty benefits directly to your guest smartphones. Also is, don't forget, you can integrate with the mobile POS and upgrade optimizer for even more benefits. So my next question, and I'm going to start with Heidi first, and then I'll go to Brandon. Out of all your upsell offers at the properties, which ones result in the best conversion rates, and what kind of ROI do you see, maybe on a quarterly basis or weekly or monthly? Heidi?
There you go. I would have to say the room upgrades are definitely the most popular and the biggest return on investment that we see. As far as hard numbers, I don't really have those available to me right now, but we do keep track of that weekly and monthly.
Great. Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, very similar. I'd say we're looking kind of the total overall revenue volume. Certainly room upgrades is probably the bulk of that. But I think in terms of probably percentage of capture, I think where we actually see a really good success rate is early check-ins and late departures. I know, especially, and we're going to touch on staffing, and that can create its own challenges in being able to offer those, especially in kind of the more challenging times we've been facing over the past couple of years. But when those are available and you do have that option available, those are certainly those resonate well with the guests. And then other ones that we've had success with are, breakfast or any kind of food and beverage credit where you're offering it potentially at a discount. Maybe you're offering a $50 credit for $40 or $45. As we typically see, most guests that are given, free breakfast or a credit typically spend more than that anyway. So you'll typically kind of gain back any kind of discount you might be offering there up front. Plus, it's just guaranteeing you're driving some of that additional traffic to your ancillary revenues, your outlets, like such as your restaurants.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Next slide. Lobbies are for experiencing and not just waiting. I think since COVID hit and now that hotels are on the rebound, is a couple of things. Is lobbies can be much more than a glorified waiting room where you walk in. You can replace a traditional front desk with guest-facing kiosks. And when I talk about kiosk, I'm not talking about a huge airport kiosk where, it's kind of a big sore thumb. It's more of a iPad, if you will, that you can mount even on the traditional front desk, or you can check a guest in elsewhere at a separate one. But that allows your lobby to have space for socializing, co-working, and dining. The other thing is it's going to free your staff from a front desk, is they can meet guests and actually walk around and help check them in and start a conversation, maybe about, as they scroll through some of the upsells. Oh, would you like to upgrade your room? Or, do you want champagne in the room for special occasions? But that's going to drive guest satisfaction and also revenue. And they get to start a relationship with that guest. And also, you can integrate a kiosk-based point of sale system to speed up in your lobby cafes and sundry shops. So my question, and I'll start with Brandon this time, upselling and checking in go hand in hand. How does your front desk engage with new arrivals in the upselling process?
Yeah, we typically make it a part of our morning process to kind of identify who kind of our most optimal upsell candidates are, and then establish what are going to the minimum upsell amounts that we're going to charge for whatever room types we do have available as upgrade options. And I'd say, kind of, identifying those clients or those upgrade potential upgrade customers certainly is, those that are in kind of maybe a base room type that then have plenty of upgrade options available to them. But where I think we've had the most success, and what I would encourage others to do is kind of a best practice that we found is really sell in incrementality. So, at this point, especially as we're talking about here, we both have hotels that are offering oceanfront views, and we're about to enter summer season where, prices can be quite high. So if you can just flip it to, rather than, telling the customer the total new price, but really just the incremental cost for the upgrade. So, hey, for $50 more, you can get an extra 100 square feet in your room and, a view of the ocean, and just sell the incremental features in addition to the incremental amount of the upgrade, rather than kind of reiterating the total cost of the new, the new total cost of the stay.
Oh, perfect. Heidi, what about you?
Yeah, at check-in, we have our agents, read the guest and, kind of figure out why they're coming to the area, and you can use that information to upgrade, either do a room upgrade or do the early check-in feature. We also have the iPad stationed at our front desk where you can flip it over and show the guests, scroll through the room upgrade options, and they can look and see what that's going to look like for them. And then, like Brandon said, really selling it in a way of only $15 more, we can get you in now. Or if you wanted to wait till standard check-in time, there's no cost for that. Or this ocean view is going to be $30 more, whereas this oceanfront room with extra square footage is going to be about $60 more. Yeah.
Oh, I love that you kind of flip that iPad over and show them the room choices. I think that's a great tactic and strategy.
Love
Thanks.
that.
Next slide, please. In dining, that should be as mobile and easy as check-in. Is that mobility process again, that should extend right throughout the entire stay, not just at the guest welcome. And you can still deliver a contactless dining experience through mobile or kiosk ordering with a leading POS integration. And, one of the most important things is you can earn additional revenue with gift cards, loyalty programs, and email marketing. And I think that this feature is extremely important, and we're going to touch on that. Let's see, Heidi, you're going to be first. You don't have to run a luxury property to offer guests added value. All types of properties can upsell. What would you recommend to properties just trying to implement a mobile check-in or upselling capabilities for those particular properties that want to start in this area?
Well, I think just getting out there and finding what you can offer to your guests, and always looking to it never hurts to ask for the upsell.
Okay, Brandon, what about you? And if you could touch upon maybe your Pacific Perks program and kind of how you started that and how that works.
Absolutely. I'll pay you. Thank you later for dropping the name of the program. Thank you. No, but I'd say kind of to the initial question, one of the things that I would say, similar to Heidi is I would say, start small. You don't have to come up with everything under the sun, especially when you're first kind of dipping your toes into this space here. Start with simple upgrades or early check-ins or things that you can pull off easily and get your team and your customers used to it. You can always go back and tweak it and enhance and add more and do more later. But I'd say if you're just getting started in the space, start small, get everybody comfortable with it, and build from there. But another option, great segue, is loyalty, and that allows you obviously an opportunity to tap into your guests and offer them additional perks and benefits, and hopefully drive repeat customer behavior as well as direct booking behavior. So we recently launched earlier this year our Pacifica Perks loyalty program. Kind of fresh out of the gate, similar to what I was saying here, kind of taking it slow. Our initial approach here is it's kind of it's a one-tier program. You're either a member of the program or you're not, and if you are, then you get some additional perks such as our best rate guarantee and free Wi-Fi and things like that. And eventually I think we plan to take that into a multi-tiered program that would kind of compete with what you're typically used to seeing in terms of hotel loyalty programs, where there's maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 tiers and different perks at those tiers. But for now, as we're kind of just getting started, we're starting off with kind of a single program, and we'll eventually tweak it and enhance it from there.
Oh, that's great. That is fabulous. Next slide. Let's talk a little bit about post-stay revenue. You can boost revenue with the mobile check-in, checkout, and guest messaging. You can allow those guests that need a late checkout let them do it from their smartphone. All they have to do is push their button and away we go, and we get a late checkout. I don't know about anybody here, but I'm always needing a late checkout. I mean, I'm constantly, especially if I go to a vacation spot, oh, well, let's get a late checkout so we can stay longer or have lunch or whatever that may be. The other thing is, let's just talk about guest satisfaction and brand reputation. And when you integrate with an SMS guest messenger, an online reputation manager, I don't know about you, but I'm always checking review sites. I want to stay at one of the best properties. I want to look at those reviews, and I look at also on pulling out little informational nuggets, maybe even where they dined, what was so special about this property. And everybody knows, and it's a proven fact, you can look at the stats, is online reputation. It leads to an increase in price, increases in occupancy, and also an increase in RevPAR, especially when you have favorable reviews. So my next question, and I'm going to go to Brandon first for this one. After your guests have checked out and you send the post-stay emails thanking them for visiting, and you're also promoting return offers or discounts, how do your hotels or you entice guests to return to that property or maybe a sister property in this post-stay email?
Yeah, thank you. I think, again, kind of segue into Pacifica Perks has been a big driver of that, and allowing us to kind of tap into that and make sure that then guests, once they're a part of the program that works across our entire portfolio, they're then kind of exposed. They may not have even necessarily known that the property that they stayed at is affiliated with one in Los Angeles or in San Diego or in another part of town where we operate. So it kind of brings awareness to all of our hotels that are in the program. And then of course we obviously tap into our CRM and do email marketing, targeting guests kind of based on recency of stay, maybe how long since their last stay. So we might be able to target them with a specific offer. If maybe it's been an entire year since the guest's last stay, maybe it's something that they come for an annual trip, so we can kind of begin to target those guests as well based on the recency of their stay, how frequent they stay, when their last stay was. All of that are great targets to kind of try and incentivize repeat business out of guests that have stayed with us once before.
That's great. Heidi, what about you? for those post-stay emails, how do you entice guests to come back, either at your property or the other ones that you have in your portfolio?
Yeah, we do, of course, send a post-stay email, and at the bottom of the email, it'll show the other 2 properties. If you enjoyed us, try our sister properties. We also have the post-stay survey that they can click and share their feedback. And we physically, humans physically respond back to the guests. So I do a lot of those responses, and we can kind of tailor it to how the survey was answered. So really taking that time to bring our personal touch to it, inviting people back. You know, if they had a negative stay, you know, maybe offering them a discount towards a future stay at our property or one of the sister properties. And then vice versa, they had a wonderful stay, thanking them, of course, reminding them that we're going to have wine stays back in start back in May, and we know, kind of like Brandon, checking people's profiles and tailoring our email blasts to those guests.
Let me ask you a question. Do you, during the guest stay, do you update those guest profiles? Let's say that they have an anniversary coming up. Does your staff kind of update guest profiles along that way?
Yeah, we update, you know, as we receive information from the guests, we do like to put it into the guest stay card and their profile.
Oh,
So a lot of it is floor preference. Most of our guests have a preference of either the first floor or the 4th floor. And so we'll like to put those preferences in so that we know the next time they stay, we already know the Martins get the 4th floor. They always celebrate their anniversary in May. You know, Kelly's birthday is always in September, and just, you know, using those guest profiles. And I think it surprises our guests too, in a good way, when they come to check in, and you can say happy anniversary or welcome back. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
I will
great.
say, I have a plug for Stay in Touch here. I think you guys did a great job in creating the stay card and just being able to just have a field to house those types of preferences and being able to easily kind of build some of the preset preferences or likes. You know, for example, you know, if the floor preferences are, you know, commonly requested one, you can kind of have those built in as preset checkboxes in the guest stay card as well, which makes it easier to maintain those kinds of details and preferences and records.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Next slide. Thank you. So, but I'm going to turn it over to Ryan right now. We want to have plenty of time for Q&A and answering questions. And I believe we have a poll question.
Yes, we do. Before we move on to our Q&A session, first of all, thank you very much for this wonderfully insightful presentation so far. We have a poll question for audience members that they can interact with in real time. This should be appearing on everyone's screen, and you can participate by selecting either of the options in front of you and then clicking submit. In a moment, we'll be getting to our Q&A session where you'll have the chance to, you know, ask some questions of our wonderful speakers here today, learn some insights. We've already received some questions, so thank you very much for participating. We will get to those momentarily. We'll give everyone a few more seconds, though, to consider this question that we're asking right now. Looks like many of you have submitted a vote, so thank you very much for your participation. In just a few more seconds, we'll get into our Q&A session now. All right. Thank you very much for your participation. Moving on, we have ourselves a Q&A session. We've got some questions already from the audience, so let's get into it. The very first question that we have for you first states that it can be challenging to figure out when to introduce upselling to our hotel sales cycle. They want to know if you can just expand on how your hotels incorporate enhancing your guests' experience during the hotel booking process that is on your website.
Yeah, I can go ahead and start and say, you know, one of the ways that we do kind of through our booking engine and try to incentivize those upsells or kind of, I guess, move guests into the direction of our more premium rooms is a simple one starting out with just imagery. Imagery upsell does a lot. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you can illustrate what the guest is paying that extra premium for through your images of your room types, that can do a lot of the legwork for you and kind of establishing the precedent and visually showing the guests what the value of that extra increase for the oceanfront room is versus the non-new room. And then with us personally, we utilize multiple touch points in the guest journey to offer different upsells, whether it's upgrades, early check-ins, add-ons, enhancements, local attractions, things like that. Certainly at the point of purchase during checkout of the booking engine, pre-arrival emails is another touch point to be able to offer that as guests are kind of getting a couple of days out from their stay and want to make sure that it's going to be a memorable family vacation, that they add on those other items at that point. And then, of course, through check-in, whether that's a mobile check-in experience where you can, continue to offer upsells as part of that workflow, or through your check-in process, directly with the front desk agent that can offer that directly to the guests as well. So lots of touch points and lots of opportunities to drive ancillary revenue and really just enhance the guest experience as well.
Yeah, and for our website, it's pretty similar. We've got photos, and we also have videos, virtual tours of all of the different room types, so you can really get a feel for what you're booking, what you're reserving, and what the potential is. So we also have on the website, different things to do in the area, all of our enhancements, all of our packages, local attractions, and that sort of thing too.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for those answers. The next question we have, I believe, Rose, this might be best directed towards yourself. They would like to know, how can hotels partner with local businesses to expand the hotel's reach?
This is a great question, and I'm going to have Heidi weigh in after I'm done. One of the things that I hear from hotels is, geez, I don't have a restaurant, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. I think the biggest thing that people can do to increase ancillary revenue is partner with some of your restaurants, whether it's a tour company for city tours, a spa down the street or somewhere, adventure trips, walking food tours, and then negotiate something with them. You can add it in your mobile, and then you get a part of the revenue. And, that's going to be, to me, one of the very unique benefits of kind of starting small, if you will, and then gaining part of that revenue. Everybody has an opportunity to incorporate upsells with their hotels. And I'm going to let Heidi piggyback. Did you say that you had a lavender package? You partner with someone?
Yeah, so we partner with various different local places. One of them being Hambly Farms. It's a small lavender farm north of us. And you can add on a little package, and it's like a salve, like a balm, a lavender balm, and like a lavender spray to, enhance sleepiness, relaxation. So we partner with them. We can put that gift box in the room before they arrive. We also use Pismo Beach Florist and Shell Beach Florist for romance enhancements that guests can add on. So those are local flower companies here in the area. We also use, there's a local guy, he lives in Shell Beach, close to us, and he sells salsa to all the grocery stores in the area, and he approached us. So we serve his salsa with our breakfast bar, and guests can purchase the salsa from us, or they can go to different grocery stores to purchase it. Another one we do is coffee, a local coffee vendor out of Los Osos. We use them for our in-room and our breakfast coffee. We can also provide recommendations of where they can purchase those products as well. And then they also do little tours of their facility. So guests could sign up to do a tour of the coffee, I don't know what you call it, a coffee plant, I guess, which is kind of cool. you know, there's various. There's also the Taco Works. It's a local restaurant out of, I believe, Los Osos as well in San Luis Obispo. And we put their chips complimentary in all of our oceanfront rooms, but we also do sell them through the front desk. So you can pick up a bag of local chips as well. And then we just partnered with Blast and Brew restaurant, which is our on-site restaurant, and they deliver food and drinks to our pool and public spaces. But yeah, so we partner with a lot of local vendors, and you know, even as simple as the salsa guide, you know, we just feature that with our breakfast bar, which is complimentary for all of our guests, and they can take it a step further and purchase that to enjoy later and pair it with their Taco Works chips from San Luis Obispo. So we really do try to partner with as many local vendors as we can to bring that special touch. And you know, there's also a biscuit place that I'm looking to the future in partnering with them and having some of their biscuits at our breakfast bar and kind of, you know, cross-selling through that. So yeah,
I love that. It is so unique.
There's a lot.
It is a lot. Very unique, very well done, very personalized with a special touch.
Yeah.
It is. That was great answer. Very clever ideas that you've got going on there.
I forgot to even mention the gift boxes from another local gal that lives in Shell Beach, and she does the romance enhancement box with fresh flowers and chocolates and that sort of thing. And she does different little special boxes too. So if you're celebrating a kid's birthday, she can customize the box for kids and that sort of thing too. I didn't want to leave her out.
That's great. Thank you, Heidi. I've got a question that maybe you can help answer as well here, which asks, how do you use your CRM to identify customer trends and keep testing to upsell guests?
Well, we really do use the guest history and profiles, tracking the anniversaries, birthdays, you know, anniversary celebration. Maybe we push the romance box or even the lavender gift set. We also do track revenues and see what's working best and what's not working, what we need to push more of. We also track our repeat guests. We actually have a big following. We have a lot of loyal guests that have been staying with us for many, many years. Some guests have stayed with us since they built the Seacrest, you know, a very select few. We've been open since 1962, so we just celebrated our anniversary there. Yeah.
Nice, excellent. I wonder, Brendan, if you perhaps have some insights from your own experience that you could possibly share.
Yeah, I mean, we monitor kind of key metrics in terms of guest behavior, you know, in our booking engine, as well as repeat guest ratios. And you know, again, as we mentioned kind of earlier, looking at, you know, doing targeted email blasts to incentivize a little bit more frequency of stays, or maybe longer lengths of stay. So certainly always looking to tap into the guests that you know have been with you once and have you know, hopefully enjoyed your product and incentivize them to return. But as mentioned, you know, both of us have other properties in our portfolio that we're happy to expose our guests to as well. So I think, Ryan, you're on mute.
Amateur mistake. Thanks, Brendan. I was thinking, thank you for that great answer. And I've actually got another question I think ties into this well for you. It's someone wondering really how you go about identifying the customers that are the best targets for upselling and cross-selling.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we touched on a little bit earlier, obviously guests that are in kind of your base room types, there's, you know, essentially nowhere to go but up from there. So those are kind of easy targets, if you will, of guests that, you know, you're bound to have at least one upgrade option available depending on how full you might be for the night. So those are easy, you know, easy opportunities there. Additionally, I think, you know, we all, especially as independent hotels, you know, typically put a lot of focus on trying to get guests to book direct or, you know, become direct booking guests as opposed to booking through more costly channels. So, you know, I'd say that's other low-hanging fruit, or, you know, any guests that have booked through a third-party service are just kind of great opportunities to wow them with upgrades and kind of turn them into a direct and loyal guest through enhancing their stay experience there. And I think, in general, you know your audience, know your customer. Heidi touched on that earlier as well, as kind of knowing who your customers are, but you're going to have, a much easier time and better odds of, pitching an upgrade to a suite to the family of 4 that's checking in for a long weekend that wants more space to spread out than the business traveler that's here for one night and is on a company budget. So knowing who your customer is and then tailoring your offerings based on that, there's a little bit of profiling there, but as long as you can kind of get a sense of your customer and your guests and your travelers, you can kind of tailor your offerings accordingly.
That's great. Thank you. Very comprehensive answer. Heidi, I don't suppose you have perhaps some of your own information you might like to add on to that?
Really, it's the same, reading your guest and, looking at how they booked or what they have reserved and what your availability is like. And like you said, a little bit of profiling, but yeah, basically the same.
That's great. Excellent. Thank you very much, both of you, for that answer, for all of the answers really here today. We have reached the end, though, of our Q&A session for the webinar. Now, if we couldn't attend to all the questions, the team at Stay in Touch will follow up with you, or if you have further questions, you can direct them to the email address that's up on the screen. I want to thank everyone, though, for participating in today's webinar. You will, and please join me in thanking our speakers, all of them, for their wonderful time here today. We really appreciate it. I hope that you all found the webinar informative, though, and have a great day, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.